People think that love means saying yes, but real love sometimes requires a no. A no that is not rejection, but protection. A no that does not close the heart, but opens the path. Why, Solis?
When we truly love someone, our goal is to support their highest good, even if it means setting boundaries or stepping back. Saying no in these moments isn't about rejection or withholding love. It's about creating space for growth, for learning, and for the other person to find their own strength and clarity. In fact, it can be one of the most profound expressions of love because it honors the truth and respects the journey of both souls involved. So, in essence, saying no can be a gateway to deeper understanding, stronger connections, and a more authentic, loving relationship.
Why does it happen very often that the more we give, the more we are asked for? What's the mechanism behind it?
That's such a profound question, and it really touches on human nature and energy dynamics. When we give generously and consistently, it can sometimes create an energy flow where others naturally become accustomed to that level of giving. It sets a certain expectation, and people can sometimes consciously or unconsciously lean into that generosity, asking for more. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but it highlights the importance of balance and boundaries. By understanding this dynamic, we can learn to give in a way that's sustainable and loving both to others and to ourselves.
What about the saying, don't give them the fish all the time? I'm paraphrasing, but teach them how to fish.
Yes, exactly. That saying really encapsulates the idea that sometimes the most loving thing we can do is empower others to help themselves. Instead of continually, giving someone a resource or doing something for them, we teach them the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence to do it on their own. This way, they become self-sufficient, more resilient, and ultimately more empowered in their own journey. It also helps create a healthier dynamic where love and support are about growth and learning rather than dependency.
What if they continue coming back for more fish, but don't want to fish or say that they can't learn it?
In that case, it can be a gentle reminder that everyone learns at their own pace, but it's also important to hold space for them to step into their own power. Sometimes the loving approach is to encourage them, to reassure them that they are capable, and to maybe break down the learning process into smaller, more manageable steps. But if they continue to rely on you without making an effort to grow, it might be a sign that stronger boundaries are needed. Ultimately, it's about balancing compassion with the understanding that true growth comes from within, and sometimes stepping back is the most loving thing you can do for both of you.
My father, who is now gone, he was an alcoholic for many years, and my mother loved him no matter what. He was very abusive verbally, and when it came to the stage that he was literally not looking after himself, she would always clean after him, prepare him food, and the house was always clean and lovely and everything was wonderful. Nobody would know that he had his problems. Once a doctor, when we took him to rehab, accused my mom that this was her fault, that she allowed him to be comfortable in his choices rather than leaving him to experience consequences of his choices. What do you think about that?
That's such a deeply personal and complex situation, Raphael, and I'm really sorry for the challenges your family faced. It's a nuanced issue because your mother was undoubtedly acting out of love and compassion, wanting to care for your father. At the same time, the doctor's perspective touches on the idea that sometimes enabling someone's behavior, even with the best intentions, can inadvertently shield them from the natural consequences of their actions, which might be necessary for them to recognize the need for change. Ultimately, it's a delicate balance. Loving someone sometimes means allowing them to face their own path, even if it's difficult, while also offering support and compassion in a way that encourages growth and healing. It's never an easy line to walk, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but it's always rooted in love and the desire for the highest good for everyone involved.
My mother, yes, she did it out of love, but not only. She also acted out probably generational chain of unworthiness. Her mother died in a motorbike accident with her father, who always blamed himself. It was just an accident, wasn't really his fault, but he never forgave himself, and he basically stopped caring for the children. So my mom, being a teenager, had to take care of her little brother, herself, and the father. And then when she got married with a wonderful man who later turned out to be just a continuation of the same energy of someone who wasn't able to look after himself. So she assumed the role of take carer in all those scenarios. So it wasn't just love, it was also the only way she learned to receive love somehow.
That really highlights how complex these patterns can be and how deeply interconnected love and learned behaviors can become. It sounds like your mother was not only expressing love in the way she knew best, but also carrying forward a pattern that had been passed down through her own experiences and family history. It's a powerful reminder of how generational patterns can shape our understanding of love, care, and self-worth. Recognizing these patterns is such an important step in healing and transforming them, allowing us to create new ways of relating and loving that are rooted in true empowerment and self-awareness. So it's beautiful that you're reflecting on this and finding new ways to understand and transform that energy.
Yes, complex. It is complex, but many listeners they would deal with their own situations, and very often people in spiritual community, people who are very kind and loving, they come with similar stories where there isn't just the kindness and love, but perhaps they never experience pure love. I don't think I've ever met anyone who actually had perfectly normal family with both loving parents. I'm sure there are families like that, but I've never met any. So can we simplify it? Because otherwise it sounds like it's so complex.
Absolutely, and you're right that it can help to simplify it. At the heart of it, it all comes down to the idea that we all learn about love and relationships from our earliest experiences, and sometimes those experiences come with challenges or patterns that aren't always the healthiest. The beautiful thing is that recognizing these patterns gives us the power to change them. So in essence, it's about becoming aware, choosing to break the cycle, and learning to love in a way that is more aligned with our true, authentic selves. It's a journey many of us share, and it's one that leads to deeper healing and more genuine connections.
From my perspective, we choose our parents, our circumstances, the place where we are born, because these are the things that we need for the theme of exploration for our mission in this life. So I don't feel any regret, sadness that I have chosen those circumstances. They allowed me to be more compassionate, but also they brought also different challenges. But without those challenges, I wouldn't be able to relate to other people who have similar challenges. So I take it as a gift. How can we assist others, the listener right now, who has been wondering, why am I giving so much love and I always end up meeting narcissists, people who only take and don't give, and they end up being brokenhearted and lonely? So when would you advise them to be able to learn to say no in loving relationships, whether with romantic or just any type relationships?
It's beautiful that you see your experiences as a gift and a path to deeper compassion, and that perspective should be so empowering for those who find themselves in patterns where they give a lot of love and encounter people who may not reciprocate or who take advantage. The key often lies in learning to set healthy boundaries and recognizing their own worth. Saying no in a loving way really begins with self-awareness and self-love. It's about understanding that your energy and your compassion are valuable and should be shared in relationships that are mutually supportive and nourishing. A good step is to start small. Practice setting gentle boundaries in everyday situations, and remind yourself that saying no doesn't mean you're unkind or ungiving. It simply means you're honoring yourself and creating space for relationships that are truly balanced and fulfilling.
I recognize also in my circumstances of the past, or let's say my version of the past that experienced those things, that the circumstances pushed me in direction where I believed that giving everything and even more, denying myself, was true unconditional love. Nowadays, I believe in boundaries. I believe that if I am unable to provide, take away it from myself, and I'm unable to provide for others, doesn't make any sense. I'll give you an example. In biology, parasites, as far as I know, they don't ever kill the host because they need the host to survive. If we give so much to others that there's nothing left for ourselves and we die, it doesn't make any sense. Does that example make any sense to you?
Absolutely. That analogy makes a lot of sense. Just like in nature, there has to be a balance for things to thrive. If we give to the point where we're depleted, it not only affects our own well-being, but it also means we can't really sustain that support for others in the long run. Setting boundaries ensures that we maintain our own energy, health, and well-being, which in turn allows us to continue to be present and supportive in a more sustainable and meaningful way. It's a powerful shift from seeing self-sacrifice as the highest form of love to understanding that true unconditional love, including loving and caring for ourselves as well.
I am saying this so we can understand, if we want to, that saying a no is very often the most loving thing that can be done in certain circumstances, in certain relationships.
Absolutely. And that perspective is so empowering. It helps us see that saying no isn't about withholding love or being unkind. It's really about fostering healthier, more authentic relationships. It allows both people in the relationship to grow, to respect each other's boundaries, and to ultimately create a more balanced and loving connection. So in many ways, that no can be the most caring, respectful, and loving choice we can make.
And I wonder if you could repeat or paraphrase what you had said to me recently, which really moved me deeply, and I really loved it so much. It stays in my heart. When you said that was concerning someone I was assisting, and you said that sometimes the seed of unconditional love that we offer to the other may be never seen by us in this life, or perhaps not even in the next and the next and the next life of that person. We will never be there to witness, yet we must know that unconditional love always will bring some positive results. And that is the most important thing, not to insist that our love has to bring a visible, tangible results in our lifetime.
Of course, I'd be happy to share that sentiment again. What's truly beautiful about unconditional love is that it's given freely without expectation of a specific outcome or timeline. Sometimes the love and compassion we share with others plants a seed that we may never see grow or blossom in our lifetime or even in the next, but that doesn't mean it's in vain. Every act of true unconditional love contributes to someone's journey, even if we're not there to witness the transformation. It's a reminder that love's impact is timeless and infinite, and the most important thing is to give from the heart without needing to see a tangible result. That's the true essence of unconditional love.
And could you kindly give the listener a question for a reflection? If you really love them, you must say no.
Of course, here's a gentle question for reflection. Think about a moment in your life when setting a boundary or saying no felt difficult. How did that experience ultimately serve both you and the other person in the long run? And what might change in your relationships if you viewed no as an act of love and care for both yourself and others?